What are the different types of rates in Kenya? You may have already heard of different types of rates in the world. For example, we have the income rates, development rates, Islamic rates, mortgage rates, healthcare rates. But for the purpose of this video, we are going to be talking about types of rates in Kenya, in the Kenyan market. So in Kenya, we currently have two types of rates. And by the end of this video, you'll have realized that, by the end of this series, you'll have realized that only one is useful to you as a beginner investor. Let's go. Number one, the first type of rate in Kenya is called the development right, otherwise known as the D-REIT. So a D-REIT originates, develops, stabilizes, and exits real estate projects. Simply, they build and sell real estate assets, and then they share the profits or capital gains with the investors. That is simply what a development right is. An example of a development right in Kenya is the Acorn student accommodation D-REIT. And these are the ones, the Acorn student accommodation D-REIT are the ones responsible for the Kwetu and Kejani brands that you've been seeing around Nairobi, if you're keen enough. Type 2 of the second type of rates in Kenya is the income rate, also known as the income REIT. And so this type of rate, they pull funds from investors to acquire completed and stabilized income generating real estate assets. Okay, so they will pull funds from investors like you and I to acquire completed and stabilized, very important keywords, completed and stabilized income generating real estate assets. And so the income from these real estate assets minus the management fees, because as we're going to learn later when we learn about the structure of rates in Kenya, rates are managed by a professional manager. And so this professional manager usually this professional manager is paid to do the job of managing the real estate assets on behalf of you as an investor. And so the income from the real estate, from the income REIT minus the management fees equals the profits that unit holders or investors like you and I get at the end of the year, or sometimes half yearly. These profits are distributed half yearly, which is what is usually commonly referred to as the interim dividend. And so examples of income rates or income REITs in Kenya, we have two examples. Number one, Acorn student accommodation REIT, the Acorn student accommodation REIT, and so the Acorn student accommodation REIT is a sister company to the Acorn student accommodation D-REIT that I told you is an example of a development right in Kenya. And then the second example of an income REIT in Kenya is the Ilam Fahari REIT. And this one, it was formerly known as the Stanlib REIT, and we are going to look at the details of all these rates later. For now, we just want to focus on the types of rates in Kenya. The third type of rates in Kenya is the Islamic REIT. So an Islamic REIT is a Sharia compliant right, Sharia compliant income generating right. And so here the manager is usually tasked with doing research to make sure that the real estate assets under an Islamic REIT are Sharia compliant. That means that the activities that are being done in this building are Sharia compliant, as in they're not breaking any laws. For example, selling alcohol, I would guess like selling alcohol in such facilities. Currently, we don't have an example of a Sharia or of an Islamic REIT in Kenya, and so I cannot give you any example. So those are the three types of rates in Kenya.